Hello everyone, welcome to Distilling Insights YouTube channel. Today we'll be talking about the round formula and the M-round formula. These two formulas are very important and they are expedient for the utilization of rounding up data in Excel. The round function is actually a number to a specified number of digits. The purpose of this syntax is just for us to round up a particular digit of numbers. Now, if you want to round up this, before I move further, please don't forget I'm intentional about leaving this. Don't forget to reach out to our platform to watch the round up and round down function, the ceiling and the floor function, while we also move to the round function. Now for the round function, if you want to use the round function, you just pick up the round, and once you click on this and you have the open bracket, now we want to round this. When we want to round this, we want to round it to 2 decimal place, and you're going to have it like this. Now please note, by the time you pick on this, you're having 2.43, but if you change this to 3, you see it's having 2.434, meaning it has rounded it up 2.434. Now if we're having any value like 5 decimal place, now you realize that this is showing us 2.43396. I want us to understand something here. The clarification I want to bring about is that when you are dealing with round up, it rounds it up irrespective of whether the last digit before it will be considered to round up is 5 and above or not. It will eventually round it up irrespective of the number there. And for the round down, it will always round it down irrespective of the number there. For the ceiling, it will always utilize it based on the multiple of the figure that we want to use it for, and the floor. While for round, it takes cognizance of the digits. When the digit is 5 and above, it takes it to become 1 and it adds it to the last digit, and which is the right thing to do. So the round take cognizance of the limitations of just rounding up and just rounding down, and while the round gives better way to get the job done. So by the time you double click this, you see for the 3.43836, you realize that the round function actually made it to round it up. The 5 was rounded up to 6 because 6 will become 1 and it adds to the last number to become 5. And when you check the 2.43396, you realize that it is 2 that is the next number, and it ran down, it becomes 0, and 0 added to that 6 to give you that value. Now if you change it to 0, I mean the value, it will give you a whole number. Let's double click and see. When you double click to see, you realize that it converts it to whole number. So you can use round to also convert to whole number, and you can also use round to convert to the nearest 10. So you can see that this gives you 0, and once you click on the double click, it gives you what result in multiples of 10, what is closest, how it should round it up to the closest value of 10, which is whether it is 10, it is 20, 30, 40, 50, like that, to the nearest tens. So that's for you to convert to the nearest tens for the round function. That's what gives you that. Now for the M round is dealing with the digits with respect to the closest multiple. Now let's just change it back to the 3 decimal place for the round, and we're having this. So we want to go to the M round now in order to see the closest value with respect to the multiples. That's for the M round. So now one thing about M round is that it works in similar range with ceiling and floor. For the ceiling, ceiling is dealing with the multiple rounding it up, while floor multiple rounding it down. But MROUND is telling us that the formula we are going to use equality sign MROUND, double click the MROUND. Now we are picking from the value of the decimal we've been using, which is this, which is G2, and we want to get G2 in multiple of 2. Multiple of 2. So now that we've gotten it in multiple of 2, by the time we double click on that value, it gives us a breakdown of everything down the line. And now you can see that 2.4, the closest multiple of 2 to 2.4 is 2. The drop down now that we are having is showing that the closest multiple of 3.4 of 2 is actually 4, and the one for 3.64 is also 4. Now for the multiple of 3, the closest to 2.4, which is multiple of 3, is 3. The closest to 3.4, which is multiple of 3, is 3. The closest to 5.9, which is multiple of 3, is 6. So that's why we are having this value. And if you check 5.95, the closest is still 6. 3.64 is 3. The closest multiple of 15.34 is 15. Is 15. So, and 0.53, the closest of multiple of 3 is 0, and that of 2.29.36 is 30. So the MROUND is actually telling us that the closest to the multiple of that value, it will round it up to that closest value. Unlike 4.28, you realize that the 4.2 is having a value that is not up to 5. That is why the closest value that it rounded it up to is 3. So instead of moving to 6, it rounded it to 3. Unlike ceiling and floor will round it, ceiling will round it up irrespective of that value that precedes the value we are considering, and floor will round it down. That's the reason we're having 6 for ceiling and we're having 4 for floor. While that is in terms of multiple of 2. If you go back to watch the video on ceiling and floor, you realize where I'm coming from. And for the MROUND, you realize that it keeps it at the value of 3, while the 3.032 is also 3. If you actually like our videos, do well to subscribe, share with your loved ones, and engage with it, as there are multiple ways this can be applied in the real life scenario.